Welcome to Only Good Heroes. I'm your host, Lucia Nazzaro. On this show, we are featuring incredible people and organizations making an enormous impact in their community and our world during this time of need. On today's show, we're going to be joined by Aidan Riley. Aidan is one of the founders of FarmLink. Aidan, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you.
Can you explain to people who don't know, what is the FarmLink project?
We set out with the goal of getting surplus food that we'd been reading about from farms. I'd been home from quarantine. I was reading a New York Times article, for example, detailed how due to supply chain breakdowns, farmers who were ready to fulfill orders of massive orders for universities or restaurant chains, those orders were canceled and they're left with just mountains of fresh produce on their farms that it was cheaper for them to bury essentially than to ship it or get it to people in need. And at the same time, I had a personal connection with a food bank in Los Angeles, and I knew that they were serving around 300 people a week, and that had gone up to like 1,200 people. So they were just burning through their stockpiles. So the idea initially started with getting one truck of produce from one of these farms we read about to this food bank in Los Angeles. And we did that. We basically cold called the farmers that we read about on articles, asked about their surplus, and then said, hey, we know you're struggling. We will raise money to pay you for a truckload of this. Tell us the price that you need in order to give your workers and your truck driver a paycheck. We realized this was actually something that we could do. It was a repeatable process, and it was something that we could potentially do all over the nation.
It's incredible what you've managed to accomplish in such a short amount of time. And you're not just moving onions, right? So what other products have you been able to secure, and how does it work as far as getting the products to these food banks? If a food bank needs food, do they get in touch with you?
So we're not just moving onions, even though that was our first flagship delivery. We've done cucumbers, potatoes, onions, pineapple, honeydew melon, anything that people have a surplus of and that people need, we will get it to them. And the way it works is we've been lucky enough to have a partner with Uber Freight. We reached out to Uber Freight, and they have a program going right now to basically support organizations that are helping society during the COVID-19 pandemic. And they work with us on a national scale. So if we have cucumbers in Florida and there's a place in North Carolina that would really, really need and love cucumbers, we book an Uber Freight and they do the transport for us. And the way we find food banks, for the first couple weeks, and we're only 8 weeks old, but for the first couple of weeks, it was really just cold calling. I mean, we built up a database of about 1,500 food banks from the most populous cities, from the 1,000 most populous cities in the United States. And we just went down the list calling and finding out what they needed and how they needed it packaged, et cetera. And we were doing the same thing with farms, building up that list and cold calling. It was hard work, but where we've gotten to now, we've been lucky enough to get attention from news outlets and things like that. And what happens is people have been reaching out to us, and that way we can more acutely respond to the needs across the United States.
Was there a specific story, Aidan, that touched you and that made you open your eyes really to the issue of food insecurity?
It was the fact that I was reading simultaneously about about how farmers were having to bury millions of pounds of fresh, good food. And then I would click over to another article that was talking about how food insecurity, which essentially means how many people don't know when their next meal is going to be, how that is just skyrocketing. It was just looking at that and being like, this is a clear disparity. What if we can just try to connect these two?
So Aidan, you mentioned that California is actually where you started and that you've grown. Where are you? How many states are you in currently? And to date, do you know how much money you've actually raised?
Yeah. So what I'm pulling up right now is, so we've been in 28, we've moved food in 28 states. And if you go on our website, farmlinkproject.org, we actually have a map on there that shows exactly which states we've moved food to and how much. 100% of our donations go directly to either paying the wages of farm workers or for the food, essentially. I mean, nobody is making a cent off of this, where it's all being redirected back. And the only way we've gotten money has been through thousands of donations across individual donations across the United States, which has been really inspiring. And yeah, the actual number we've raised as of yesterday, $1 million.
Since March.
Yes, since March.
It's so hopeful to see that during this time people do care that much and want to help and are helping. If people want to volunteer or if they want to donate, what's the best way? Or maybe they're a food bank or know a food bank that is in need. What's the best way to get in touch with you, Aidan and FarmLink?
Yeah, so they should absolutely go to our website, farmlinkproject.org, thefarmlinkproject.org or farmlink.org, either works. And on there, you can see a button that says Get Involved. If you want to volunteer with us and work with us every day, you can sign up through that. If you want to just sign up for a volunteer sheet where we can ping out basically small ways which you can help, you can sign up for that. If you want to donate, you can do it there. If you want to join our Facebook group, you can do it there. It's all very neatly laid out, but that's the best place to go is farmlink.org and then the Get Involved page.
What's the greatest lesson that you've extracted from this?
I think the greatest lesson is the fact that if you're faced with an issue that it seems so big on such an unbelievably large scale and it seems hopeless, try to zero in on what you are good at or what you might be able to do to help it, even if it's on the smallest level. Because then once you get going, you might learn a little something along the way, and you'll be able to expand, and suddenly you are making some form of impact in a space that seemed like you could never do it. You would never be able to do it before. It's been inspiring to see people come on, and when I talk to new people who want to work with us, they'll be nervous that they haven't worked and they haven't coordinated a shipment of 40,000 pounds of potatoes from one state to another state, and I'm like, you can do it. Well,
we want to say thank you for the work you're doing, and on behalf of Only Good Heroes, make $100 donation to FarmLink, just to say thank you. And we see the work you're doing, and we know how impactful it is and how it's helping so many people. So we'd love to make that donation.
Thank you so much. No, I mean, I thank you guys for highlighting our cause today. And if any viewers who are watching feel like they might be interested in helping us out or joining the cause, please do. We're welcoming everybody and all, and everybody is someone who can bring something they can bring to the table. So please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We will respond, we will listen to you, and we'll work together to help people.
For more inspiring stories, make sure to visit us at OnlyGood.tv and follow us on Instagram at OnlyGood.tv. Until next time, we'll see you soon on Only Good Heroes.